reached an immediate transfer agreement with FC Heerenveen. The 41-year-old Rotterdam native will start at Training Complex 1908 next Monday and sign a contract until mid-2027. Feyenoord has also an assistant coach who has extensive experience. The club is excited about Robin van Persie's arrival, with general manager Dick Lewis calling him a true club icon. Now, in our last story, Dubois is set for a potential Usyk rematch, and this is by Frank Warren. The promoter, Frank Warren, says IFB heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois is still aiming for Usyk. Dubois withdrew from his title defense against Joseph Parker due to illness, but a unification bout with Usyk is still likely. They fought in August 2023 with Usyk winning. Dubois was promoted to champion after Usyk vacated the belt last June, I should say. He was replaced by Martin Bakole, who lost. Now, these are the stories that are making the rounds in the world of sports. Do stay for the rest of our programs. This is Coco Digest. My name is Nanaya Asare.
Good morning and welcome to the business segment. Here we provide you with the latest business news, expert analysis and market trends that will impact your business and investment decisions. My name is Peter Insia, and now let's get started with our first story. Investor interest in the money market remains strong, with treasury bills continuing to attract significant demand. The government once again exceeded its T-bill target, raising 1.9 billion Ghana cedis more than planned, while rejecting over 10 billion Ghana cedis in bids last week. Auction results from the Bank of Ghana, the government sought to billion Ghana cedis, but received total bids of 9.6 billion Ghana cedis, surpassing its target by 165%.
1-day and 182-day T-bills bids amounted to 7.38 billion Ghana cedis, with the government accepting 4.23 billion Ghana cedis and 1.43 billion Ghana cedis, respectively. Meanwhile, the 364-day bill attracted 8.11 billion Ghana cedis in bids, of which 3.96 billion Ghana cedis was accepted. Despite the robust demand, interest rates on short-term instruments declined. The 91-day and 182-day T-bills rates dropped to 24.47% and 25.38%, down from 26.85% and 27.80%, respectively. The 364-day bill also saw its rates decrease to 27.29% from 29.07%. Looking ahead, the government plans to raise an additional 6.49 billion Ghana cedis in debt on Friday, February 28, 2020. For the 91-day.
From that story, the West Africa Gas Pipeline Company Limited has reviewed plans to conduct feasibility studies this year to assess the possibility of expanding its gas supply to more regions. This comes amid ongoing maintenance work, which is temporarily halted the reverse gas flow from Takoradi to Tema, causing the shutdown of key facilities in Lomé, Togo, and Cotonou, Benin. The maintenance is expected to be completed by March 2, 2025, after which gas supply will resume. Speaking at a press briefing, Engineer Bononi Owusu Aye, Operations and Maintenance Superintendent for Western Operations at WAPCO, highlighted that the company is currently assessing the financial investment needed to implement the expansion. And in our last story, the Association of Ghana Industries has called on the government to implement targeted policies aimed at strengthening local manufacturing as part of broader economic recovery efforts. AGI highlighted the importance of integrating strategic support for the manufacturing sector into the government's flagship 24-hour economy initiative, which is set for full implementation to drive long-term economic growth.
In a high-level meeting with government officials at the Association 2025 National Council Retreat, AGI President Dr. Humphrey Ayem Darker underscored the need for bold policy reforms to accelerate industrial development. The discussion, attended by key figures such as Presidential Advisor on the Economy Seth Terkper, Presidential Advisor on the 24-hour economy Gui Sitano, and the Ghana Revenue Authority Commissioner General, focus on critical measures to enhance the competitiveness of.
And that's all we have for you on the business segment. My name is Peter Insia. Do stay for the rest of our programs.
Is kidney diseases, and statistics tells us that about 10% of the population would be facing kidney diseases, chronic ones. And therefore today I have with me in the studio Dr. Kwesi Yelage and Nana Araba Arthur, a senior nurse from the Clocksack Polyclinic. Dr. Yelage is also a dynamic pharmaceutical professional, and they will be talking to us about kidney and how they are affecting us. Let me read something quickly before we start the discussion. In 2018, it was reported that approximately 6,000 patients were receiving dialysis treatment in public and private facilities in Ghana. All right. Good morning, and you're welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show.
Good morning.
You look pretty.
Thank you.
And handsome. All right, so let's just dive into the conversation for today. What has led to the statistics of kidney diseases in Ghana? I'll start with you.
Okay. Good morning to all your viewers and to all your followers as well. So, as you rightly mentioned, the prevalence or occurrence of the chronic kidney diseases and its requiring attention is on the rise. There are quite a number of factors that would lead to people having chronic kidney diseases. And before we delve into it, let's just look at the chronic kidney disease being in a situation as though your kidney is not able to function well. And when the kidney is not able to function well, then there is a lot of pressure on the other cells of the kidney. And before you realize now, its workload is so high that it's not able to work as it's supposed to. It's on the rise because of certain activities we are engaging ourselves in. Our lifestyle activities that we are engaging ourselves in are changing. The foods we eat are changing. And these are some of the reasons why the prevalence now it's going on the rise. For diseases such as hypertension, diseases such as diabetes, they all contribute to the prevalence of chronic kidney diseases. For example, if someone has hypertension, the quote-unquote pressure that puts on their kidney makes it likely that they are going to get what we call the CKD or the chronic kidney disease. If someone has diabetes, we have what we call the diabetic nephropathy. It's not any big thing.
Okay.
So nephrons are essentially what are responsible for filtering the blood so that we are able to get urine out of the blood. We are able to take away other waste products. So you just think of the kidney as your filter, like a cloth that you put in a colander or a sieve to filter. Now, as time goes on, if you take that cloth away, you know, the colander, the dots are now bigger, so you're unable to filter as you're supposed to. So when people get some of these things, like the diabetic nephropathy, it's going to lead to some of these kidney diseases in the long run because we call it a chronic disease. So when it comes, you may not even see it, but with time, it progresses, and before you realize, you are getting all the signs and symptoms. So our lifestyle changes to we're not drinking a lot of water, we're eating certain foods that put pressure on our kidney, chronic abuse of medications, because when you take in drugs, I'm a pharmacist, so I'm really, really particular about drugs. When you're taking medications, your body has to break it down, your kidney has to filter out the waste out of your body. So the more you are doing this, especially the painkillers, as you are taking lots and lots of it, it puts more pressure on your kidney. Lack of exercise and a whole lot of things that we are doing is putting pressure on our kidneys, and that's why now we are seeing some of these cases on the rise.
Wow. Nana Araba.
Hi.
In your opinion, what are some of the things we as women are doing to contribute to some of these rises in kidney diseases in Ghana?
Thank you, Mami. I think kidney disease as a whole, there are two key drivers, right? So we have the hypertension and then we have the diabetes. Okay, so looking at there's some of the things that people have high blood pressures and they are not taking medication. People have diabetes and they are not taking medication. Some are even not aware, so you can't totally blame them. I mean, there are people who do not even know they have high blood pressure. Some actually have both. So they have the hypertension and then they have the diabetes as well, having both. So if you have these two diseases and then you are not seeking health care or you are not adhering to medications that you are supposed to take to, then obviously if things should degenerate, it gets to the advanced stage and then before you know, your kidneys have failed. Right. So if you're able to tackle the key drivers, right, how do we tackle this? Education. We need to educate people on the need to monitor their blood pressures and sugars. How can we do this? We can only do this by, having a lot of resources for the primary healthcare provider, okay, through education, through subsidized screening. Okay, we could have the school programs, you could have the workplace programs, even here in Closac, okay, you could have a day that you say you are doing medical screening, okay, and then you check people's blood pressure. And before you can actually diagnose somebody as having a high blood pressure, you must have monitored it for about a week consistently. Okay, so we know that the average is 120, 180. But if you are recording probably 140, 100, consistently, or it's going up, there are situations that people have high blood pressures. People are stressed. Okay, people are bereaved. People have other issues. So these things are drivers that make somebody have a high blood pressure. But if not on a regular day, you're having headaches, you are not really checking, you have eye problem, you are not really checking. So these things are the small stuff that actually aggravate. Okay, so for me, I think the most important thing is to address the key drivers, which is the hypertension and then the diabetes. If people actually get to understand the signs and symptoms, okay, and then the complications that comes with it, we'll be able to tackle the kidney problems. Yeah.
So, Doc, I want you to take me through the spectrums of kidney diseases. What are the severities and the less ones you have?
Oh, okay. So I want to create a picture in our mind. As I was trying to give you the example of the cloth in the colander, right? So you just think of your kidney doing that in what we call the nephron, specifically what we call the glomerulus. So you have blood passing through the kidneys. Its role is to filter and take away the waste products, bring back water and other good products back into your system in what we call the tubules, and then collect the waste and sieve it through what we call the tubules as well, and then discard them by you passing urine. Now, there is a measure, this is just for academic purposes, the units of measuring what we call the estimated glomerular filtration rate. That is the amount of blood that your kidneys are filtering every minute. There's a unit for that. Not really necessary, but what you just need to know is that. So for a normal human being, that unit it's supposed to be at around 90. So the moment you are falling below 90, then we have an issue. It could be what we call AKI, or an acute kidney infection. Now, there's a difference, infection and disease. So it could be, as Nana was saying, some stresses can even happen. You could take some medication that will reduce your kidney function whatsoever, or just puncture your kidney a little. That way, it's just an infection, it's acute. It could also be chronic, as it's degenerating, it's progressive. In our local parlance, what we would say, kwankro, you fight and it still doesn't go, so it keeps getting worse. It could also be what we call acute on chronic. So the person already has the chronic disease and then something triggers it and then you get another severe reaction. Now, there are stages 4, to be specific, where you have the stage 1, as I've mentioned. Anything that falls below 60 for that measure, it's a big deal. So if you are falling below 90, between 90 and 60, you're in the early stages. at that point, you may not really be seeing much symptoms. Things that you may think are normal, that some people don't even show symptoms at all, even in the mild stages, even the moderate to severe stages. Some people may not. But in the mild stages, that's in the early stages, stage 1, chronic disease, chronic kidney disease, you may not even feel some symptoms. Now, as it progresses, as it gets worse, as you are not changing your lifestyle, as you still have the long-standing diabetes, hypertension, and all the things that we've spoken about that will contribute to this, you progress because it's a chronic progressive disease. You go to stage 2. So now, from 60, you are dropping lower. You come to somewhere around 45. And the males, it's essentially, think of it as the males per minute that your kidney is able to function by, multiplied by 1.73 meters square. It's just how we used to measure that. So I think it's divided, sorry.
Okay.
So then you would now deteriorate. Now at stage 2, stage 3, thereabout, you begin getting symptoms almost every time. Some people would get symptoms. Your frequency of urination is altered. You are urinating in the night. You are getting this frothy urine because thinking about it again, the cloth in the colander, now the cloth has been taken away. So the pores are now bigger. We know of protein. Proteins are bigger in size because then now they leak through your urine. When they leak through your urine, you get this foamy appearance in your urine. So you begin to see some of these things, what we call proteinuria, protein in urine, essentially. You would also begin getting itchy skin, very excessive, because the waste products are not now being taken away. They are collecting in your blood. Okay. We have a measure of what we call BUN. That's the blood urea nitrogen. So you realize that some of these levels are going up. Your creatinine level, which is a breakdown of protein from your muscles, is also going up. So when we measure it in the lab, you realize that some of these things are also going high. So we are able to talk about this. There's also a measure we use, that's what we call the albumin level, the blood albumin level, comparing it to the creatinine level. You realize that this is also falling off. You have what we call the electrolyte imbalance. It's not any big deal. Think of it as micro charges in your body, but some of these things are not supposed to be too high or too low. They are supposed to be stable, what we call homeostasis, so that they're able to balance out each other. So your potassium level, your phosphate level, your sodium level, some of these things are also affected. As you are moving to stage 3, stage 4, by stage 4 you are lower than, you are 15 or even less. Okay. So you are essentially not even able to make urine because you are not even filtering it. And you begin getting some of these swellings, what we call edema, puffiness in the face, in the legs, at other extremities, and all that. Some people also even lose appetite. So anorexia comes in, they are getting poor nutrition, and in extreme cases, because there's excessive waste in the blood, it can travel to the brain. So you can get seizures, you can get a lot of other brain-related conditions as well. So as you progress, you realize that it gets worse. But in the beginning, you may not feel anything at all. Okay. That is why it's essential, as Nana has mentioned, that we do continuous screening, check for our blood pressure, check if you are diabetic or not, and also control our diet and engage in activities.
Right. Nana.
Hi.
So, is it age-related? Because you mentioned hypertension, and I know BP is mostly with the aged. Is it age-related?
BP is not with the aged, it's with the body.
Okay.
So
is kidney disease.
Yes, but usually in children, then we are looking at probably autoimmune disease, right? They might have autoimmune disease, right? The reason why their kidneys might fail, okay? But in adults, BP is for everybody because of lifestyle activities. Some actually is genetic. Okay, they must have inherited it, it runs through the family. Your mom had BP, your father, so it's in that age. But most of these activities are kind of our lifestyle, our diet. Okay, the kind of lifestyle we live now, our diet, we are working so hard, we are not exercising. Okay, we have deadlines to meet, we don't have time to go and so we come to work, we probably sit on our table the entire day. You have a deadline to catch your bosses on your neck. In fact, let me share an experience. In one of the studies that I did, I met a young man, about 28-year-old, whose kidney has failed. And I asked why, and then he said, stress from work. His boss is always on him, constantly, deadline.
Wow.
Okay. And this is a young man who is doing so well at work. But now, your kidneys have failed. He's still working, but not as he used to work before, okay? And now he's using that same salary that he's getting to pay for his dialysis. Okay? And he's doing 3 sessions a week.
Okay, we'll come to the treatment. I'm a bit confused here.
Yes, so for me, I think if it's not an autoimmune disease, it's not hypertension or diabetes, it's probably the kind of lifestyle that we have now. The young ones are holding a lot of cups at parties, and we enjoy that at parties. We are drinking a lot of concoctions. We are putting so much pressure on the kidneys, right? So that's an area we can also look at it. So it's got to do with more of
all right. So
activities.
I have some friends who have gotten kidney diseases and they ended up losing their lives. Why is it curable in the first place? And why is it that people are not aware of it until the latter part? Why is it that there are no symptoms to it and all of a sudden they are on dialysis or something?
Well, that's a multi-million-dollar question. That if people do not know that the kidneys have failed, like he gave the explanation, you know, there's a stage that people have to go through. So if there's so much pressure on your kidneys, obviously they are going to fail. And like you said, sometimes people do not know, okay? You just wake up and walk to the hospital one day, like, I don't feel fine, I probably have a headache. They check your BP and it's over the roof. I mean, BPs have skyrocketed. Yes. People are recording as high as 180, 190, over 120. And they think, oh, they don't have any signs and symptoms, right? But then you go on to ask if they're able to pass urine as they should. And they'll go like, oh, you know, so, okay. But I think we can curb the situation by encouraging health education. Okay, we could have a community-based tailored program, okay, that we need to educate the people. We could also have these mobile clinics, okay, and where people could walk in and check their creatinine levels, okay, their urine albumin, and then is it the EGFR? EGFR. Exactly. People do not all know all this, but then again, it's expensive, okay. If there's a subsidized way, okay, that we can encourage screening. I know now lots of corporate organizations are doing screening, okay, but if it's open to all that, people can actually walk in and it's affordable, because now then you're talking about costs. Okay, if I do not have the money, I won't be able to do the test. Even those that you have requested for them to do, because the labs are expensive, they are unable to do it for you to see exactly what is happening to them. Okay, so I think the education, health education, and the advocacy of health programs will be a key driver in, you know, achieving the fight or coming to a very conclusive way of fighting against this kidney disease.
You have a reaction?
Yeah, so just to add to that, as you rightly said, you may not even notice. I remember also in my experience at Olivelle Diagnostics, a friend came. I mean, it was just routine, regular. He's a medical rep, a pharmacist. So he came around and we just ran normal labs for him and everything. So he just prompted us, oh, we had this 4D probe. It's so let's just pass it around. We just did, and I mean, he just checked his kidneys and ultrasound, and the sonographer was like, it looks like the kidneys look small. So we had to just, and truly, the kidneys were reduced in size. Now, the other reason why people do not see some of these symptoms is because of compensatory activity of the kidneys. You know, there are a lot of this, what we have mentioned, the glomerulus, there are a lot. So let's assume you are civil servant here. We've been given activity or a task to do. We are 100 people. We are all working. Someone is off. Definitely we would work around and cover the person's 10 people are off, we are still able to.
Yeah.
So the people outside will not see that there's someone.
But I want you to highlight on them.
Okay. So we can do what we call urinalysis. That is urine analysis. So we will be checking for protein in your urine, as I mentioned earlier, proteinuria. Because when the pores, again, my colander example, when we take away the small cloth, the pores are bigger. So now you get more, of the protein and other large, I'm here large, so I'm tempted to say that. Other large substances coming out or seeping out through the urine.
Okay.
Funny enough, you may also be checking for blood levels, anemia, because there is something called erythropoietin in the kidney. This is a precursor for blood cells. So then if its levels are low, then you know that you are going to have lower blood levels, which will manifest as anemia. So you'd also want to check the blood levels. As I mentioned earlier, albumin levels. You would also want to check BUN. You would also want to check creatinine levels, as Nana earlier mentioned. We may also want to look at your stability up there and even how you pass urine, the frequency and all those things. Ask for what we call the pruritus. That's if you are itching or some things like that. These are very, very simple things that we would be asking. We could also do the ultrasonography, check the size of the kidneys, because your kidney are supposed to have specific measurements, a range of it. So if it falls below, because the cells are dying, public servants are leaving, they are on strike. So then we want to look at the size that the kidney is at now. We would want to do some of these tests as well. In certain extreme cases, we would also do biopsy to check how the kidney as well. So it's a lot of tests that you can't do sitting in your house. So you would have to move to diagnostic centers to ensure that you are being checked.
There's a lot of stages to go through. And at what point does one goes on dialysis treatment?
When the kidneys have eventually failed.
Yes. Totally. I learned we have 2 kidneys. Is that true?
Yes, everybody has
one here.
And we can survive with just one.
You can.
Yes.
Okay.
You can. Yeah, but in both cases, when all have failed, then you need somebody to give you one of theirs.
Okay.
Yes, but let me say that dialysis is expensive. Chronic, disease management, especially dialysis, is expensive. I did a study on that, the cost of dialysis, and the burden is so huge. Okay. Dialysis is very much expensive, so a lot of people are not able to handle that because of the financial burden. So we need to find a way that we can, reduce the burden, right? Their medication, Ipo, Macera, yes, very much expensive. And they do labs, before and after. So assuming the average civil servants, I don't know how much you're earning, okay. But then if you have to do dialysis 3 times a week.
3 times a week.
Yes. And let me give you, Kolebu charges 491 per session, right? And in Kolebu, that's the main dialysis unit. That's cardio. Cardio charges 600 cedis per session, right? And even that, for you to be able to do the dialysis, you need to have, they need to do a fistula, okay? So it's not just I go to hospital dialysis, I go and sit down and then they take my blood. But they need to do a fistula, which has to mature, okay, on the hand. And that is pretty much expensive. And there's also the neckline, okay, which costs about 10,400 a cardio. Yes, the central line, for you to be able to undergo your dialysis, or even the femora at your thigh, okay. So imagine, somebody usually, because the fistula has to mature, they'll probably do the central or the femora whilst they wait for this to mature. Okay, so you do the central.
What's the difference? Do you have to go through all these tests before dialysis treatment?
So for you to have the fistula. I mean, it's not an instant something. They have to do it for a period of time for it to mature before you can do it. So probably whilst they are waiting, they will do the one on the neck or your thigh. Okay, so you can start your dialysis. And when this finally matures, then they can use your fistula. Mind you, people have done fistula for about 3-4 times because it failed to mature. Okay, so if you are paying about 3,000 for a fistula and it doesn't mature,
the maturity is what I'm confused. What is the fistula and how does it mature?
So the fistula is what they use in, preparation for the dialysis, your blood.
Okay.
Exactly. So your blood actually goes through from your system through a machine, it filters it, and then back to your machine. Okay, so there are tubes connected to you and then the machine. Okay, so these tubes or wires are connected to your hand, your neck, to the machine. So the blood in you, goes through the tubes to the machine, it filters it, and then back to your system.
Okay.
So imagine that you have to go to the hospital 3 times a week to undergo this process. And it takes about 3 hours maximum to do one session of dialysis. Okay, so their time, everybody have their time and session. So you just can't get up one morning and say, I'm going for dialysis. It's a preparatory phase. Okay, because, and then they do in sessions. So some people do it early morning, as early as 3 a.m. So by 6, they are done. Once they are done, they need to clean up. The second batch is coming, so they are probably starting like 7 a.m. Okay, so by 10, you are done. The third batch is also coming.
The way you are saying it, I'm picturing one machine being used.
Yeah, a pretty much huge machine. Okay, and every time they need to check your vitals before you go on the machine. Okay, so if you have to go through this 3 times a week, you're losing working hours, productivity hours. Okay, some over the years, some have done it for about 12 years, 15 years, 10 years, they are still on dialysis. Some, it's their first time, so 3 months, 2 months, or a year. But the psychological stress that comes with that, because it's a financial constraint, okay? So the problem is costs, the money involved. Look, assuming if you have a house full of money, it will never be enough for dialysis.
Wow.
Yes. He's a pharmacist, so he knows the kind of medication that they take, erythropoietin.
Erythropoietin.
So let's just say, depending on where you're buying it, pharmacists differ price to price. So somebody can get probably like 125, 130, depending on where you're buying it. Okay, and people will have to take about 3. And I hear Macera is the big deal, very much expensive.
It's expensive.
So I've met patients who had said, let me say it in Chi. People need to scan but minya no matobako. Okay.
No money.
Yes, it's sad. I've met a man who had come for dialysis with a daughter, and he was so much trouble that when he woke up in the morning, I was asking, Daddy, why are you sad? Is it because you are going for dialysis? And then he said, that is not why I am sad. I am sad because the money that I'm supposed to use in taking care of your fees, now I'm paying for dialysis. How does my child go to school? Another mother who is also on dialysis had a teacher called her that what has happened to your daughter? She used to be in the first 3 in school. Now she's just going down and down and down and down. So the stress of the mother has gotten into the child. Now the child knows the mother is not well. Knowing that my mom is not well, how am I able to go to school? A very young child, about 5-6 years, she's going through that stress that the mother is equally going through. So kidney failure, in as much as it is one patient, it's a collective burden on everybody, the family, because it's a financial constraint. Okay, so assuming you are paying, you are going to the regular Kolebu, so you are paying 491 per session, and you are doing 3 sessions, multiply it.
Wow.
That is just for dialysis. Okay, the medication hasn't come, transportation hasn't come. And someone on special diet, you can't just eat anyhow.
So you'll be on a special diet. You can't eat just anything.
You can't just get up and just eat. Even their water, the water they drink is measured. So assuming that on a regular day, I'm just asking you, Beatrice, drink more water. Drink. Oh, I'm not thirsty. But these people, The maximum they can take is 500 ml, probably in the 24 hours. So you're sipping because they are not able to, excrete what they have. So you can't add more.
Are you saying we should be drinking more water?
Ideally, we should, but we don't drink because there's no cane to us.
Okay.
But we are supposed to drink more water so that the kidneys can actually, excrete the waste product. But we don't see it as a big deal until the kidney failed, right? My youngest patient was about 17-year-old. I mean, thankfully, Ibrahim Mahama came to her rescue.
Yeah. Oh,
so she's fine, or the financial constraint bit has been lifted. So this is a young girl in the Volta region, and her mom says she was just growing big. They felt like, oye kesiye, until one day the child collapsed. Okay, the child was sent to the hospital, back and forth. They realized that the kidneys had failed. Okay, so they had to bring the child from Ho to Korle Bu, and the child was in coma for about 2 weeks. Eventually, when she woke up, she wasn't talking. And these kidneys have failed. Mother isn't doing any work that is gainfully employed. Okay, so the person has to undergo dialysis 3 times a week. Schooling, so you do 3 days in hospital and then you are doing 2 days in school.
But such a young age,
yeah,
what led to that?
The kidneys just failed, probably autoimmune, something we never picked up. Like I said, if it's not diabetes, it's hypertension. Okay. So if it's not this, then probably an autoimmune, because I mean, you can't really tell why a child's kidney will fail at such a young.
Autoimmune? So
autoimmune disease, let me just say a group of disease, right, where you have the cells fighting against, instead of they protecting you, they are fighting against you. So the autoimmune diseases, there are so many of them. Okay, so they have the lupus.
Okay.
Right? Some also have the RA, rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so there are a lot of diseases that come together to form the autoimmune diseases. And these are chronic conditions. Okay. So if we are just picking dialysis as one, the huge burden of the dialysis is the financing, costing. Okay. How do we ensure that people on dialysis are able to go through their sessions? Because it cannot be done alone. Okay, some have support from friends. How much?
For how long?
It gets to a point in time, everybody gets exhausted. Okay, because in as much as you are earning, at the back of your mind, we need to save. But you're not saving. You need to put money aside so that your brother, your father, your mother, your daughter, your son will be able to go for the session. Because if you don't, of course, we know what will happen. So
it's a big deal.
It is. It is a big deal. Because instead of 3 sessions, now people are doing 1, 2. Because I can't afford.
And how effective is the 1, 2 compared to?
Well, it gives you some quality of life, as much as you don't get 100% guaranteed. But at least you increase your quality of life. So if you are not able to do the dialysis, then along the way, I mean, people die. People die eventually. Okay, everybody will die. But I mean, the kind of stress that you have to go through, sometimes they are swollen. Okay, they have edema. Their face is swollen, the leg is swollen, the abdomen is swollen. They are not able to sleep like you sleep and then you are gone. Okay, they are not able to sleep. They can't eat the things that, you will eat on a normal day. So there's so much that goes into it. So if you are able to find some source of income that will be able to help these people take care of their dialysis, it will. In our political area, we had so much. Okay, 1st December, the former vice president rolled out a free dialysis, mind you, in the teaching hospitals. But it's not all the hospitals that is such a, because UGMC is not. Okay, why? Because probably the money that National Health Insurance is going to pay will not be good for them. Why? Because the consumables are expensive. The items needed to perform the dialysis, very much expensive. So assuming that I even come for dialysis, okay, and they set up the machine, everything in place, and along the line, they identify that I am not well and that the session cannot go on. You still cannot use the same consumable for this. We need to discard.
Okay.
You need to discard. So it is not all the hospitals that are actually doing the dialysis. I mean, they are doing it.
It is well.
So what are we doing? We probably have to invest more in infrastructure.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Korle Bu has a new nephrology department. Beautiful.
Very.
Edifice. Okay. But you need more beds. I'm sure they have much beds. Korle Bu has a lot of beds. Cardio, same. UGMC, same. I don't know about Rich, how many they have, but they also do it. But if we could invest in infrastructure,
like the machines.
Okay, and then subsidize, the cost of the dialysis. Like if it's going to be permanent, okay, a way that people will be able to afford. And then again, capacity building. You need to build capacity. How do you build the capacity? You need to empower the people. So you need more nephrologists. You need to have more nursing staff. Okay, you need to have resources available to be able to do this. And if we can also fund chronic disease management, okay, in a way that it's simpler and easy for people to access services, okay. Those of us in Accra or in the capital cities are probably blessed because you have options. So if you are probably going to the remote areas, technically every Ghanaian, every human being is supposed to have free access to healthcare. Okay, there shouldn't be any limitation. I don't need to travel far away to come and seek healthcare. But people come all the way from Swede Road to Korle Bu to come and do dialysis.
Wow.
Yes.
line segment. You can call in with your questions. We have resource persons to answer to all these questions, okay? All right. Before we went on break, you were talking about pregnancy and how it's related to kidney diseases. Yeah. How is that so?
During pregnancy
is supposed to be a blessing.
It is a blessing, but it comes with a lot of issues and complications, right? So some women actually develop high blood pressure during pregnancies. Okay, people have regular blood pressure, but somehow, when they are pregnant, the story is different. People are recording high blood pressures. And this, if it's not managed properly, ends up, in another situation. So for women, and as a woman, I would advocate that women, when pregnant, we should take our antenatal service very seriously. Okay, because that is when your midwife or your doctor will be able to identify A, B, C, D, that your blood pressure is going up. We need to monitor it. What's wrong? We need to monitor it and then know the cause. Some actually have kidney failures after they deliver, or even in the process, their kidneys shut down. Okay, and if it's not managed properly, people haven't survived it. People die after childbirth. No one is supposed to die during childbirth. I mean, bringing forth another does not mean taking the life of the other.
Never.
Okay, so we need to take our antenatal service very seriously. If your doctor tells you A, please follow the A. If your midwife says, please do this, please do it accordingly. We shouldn't take it into our own hands. It will go. People have cultural beliefs that things will settle by themselves, but they don't. Okay, I have a friend now in India who is undergoing a transplant. She had this issue during her second pregnancy. Her BP skyrocketed and eventually they failed. Okay, so we had to put 1 and 2 together, raise funds for this person to go to India. But even that, I mean, you get a transplant, it's not a lifetime something, okay? Increase your lifespan for a while. But to have a baby and to have your kidneys fail, it's a huge burden.
So when you talk about transplants, you said we can survive with just one, right?
Yes.
And a transplant is someone giving you a healthy kidney.
Exactly.
So why are you saying that the lifespan is shorter?
The body might reject the kidney. In some situations, the bodies don't take the kidney. Okay, we are different people. Okay, so your kidney, that is why you need to find, they said you need to find a match or a donor. Okay, which is also another business aspect. We'll talk about that one another day. But you can give me yours, I'm your sister, or I'm your donor, we match. You can give me yours. It doesn't mean my body is necessarily going to take what you have given me as it says, I've given you, take it. No.
So even the transplant is not a lifesaver.
Okay, so
well, I don't know how many research has gone into that, but I cannot speak to that. That's 100% lifesaver. Okay, so my interest area is the funding, costs, and the policy. Okay, people have undergone transplants; they're fine, but I don't know for how long they are living or they had lived. Like I said, there's a duration. So you can still do it to improve on your quality of life. Better than having both of them filled and then there's no option. But if somebody is kind enough to give you one, you live to some extent. Okay, so I cannot speak to the lifespan of people who have undergone transplants. That is not my key area, I'm sure.
All right, so the dialysis is for maintenance whilst you get a donor to do a transplant. Is that it?
No, we can't say that. So someone might do dialysis for their lifetime and may never go for a transplant.
Really?
Yes, because even if you want to do a transplant and you don't have a match, there's no way you are going to be able to do this. To make it relatable, it's just like how we do blood transfusion. The person's blood has to be similar to yours before you can take blood from the person. So in this case, the genetics, I mean, they are much more details, but think of it as what we call the antibody and antigen. So the person has, what's it called? Antigens expressing on their kidneys. You also have antibodies in your body. So when their antigens express, your body fight that because it sees that as a foreign substance. Of course, it's foreign. So then it now fights against it. So you may have, as she's saying, that even though we may not have specific or full data on the life expectancy when people undergo this, continuously when they are transplants, people even still have to take immunosuppressants. They still have to buy medication. So it still goes back to the financial burden that when you even have even a match, because it's not 100% your body, you still need to take certain medications to tone down the aggression of your body. Mind you, that also predisposes you to other infections. And the person's kidney might not be 100% healthy as they were, bringing it to you, because as of that time, that was probably the only match. So you are not getting 100% functioning kidney. It's a little bit deteriorated. Still have to take medications, which in the long run puts pressure on the same kidney that you are now. So it's a bit of a challenge when it comes.
All right. So earlier in your submission, you made mention of the fact that sometimes at the early stage you may not see symptoms to identify or pinpoint it to. Then medication. So if you don't see symptoms, but probably you're feeling a headache, a body pain, you end up taking medication.
Yes.
How does this contribute or affect your kidney in the long run?
Okay. I'm tempted to use the common expression painkillers because in our practice we know pain is not killed. Yes, but let me say painkillers so that at least it's relatable. The continuous use of painkillers when you are probably feeling a headache. For me, I've had the opportunity to work in community pharmacy. Currently, I visit Cares Pharmacy a lot. So when you go, people walk in and they're like, oh, me malaria bar, say neti. They've owned the disease and they will tell you all sorts of things. Even in working hospitals, I was also at the Legon Hospital, University of Ghana Hospital. What people bring in and they already diagnosing themselves and knowing the solution and asking or demanding for it is worse at the community pharmacy. And even chemical shops, because some people are not focusing on the profession and they are focusing on their pocket. The P that they are selecting is the pocket, not the profession. So people throw in all sorts of medications, and now these things put pressures on them. So when they are beginning to see in your body, putting extra in your body, putting extra pressure. So the moment you begin feeling some of these things, best thing is to go for tests. As Nana Riley said, we should focus on continuous checks. If we are having routine check-ups, then we will catch some of these things earlier because there are no signs and symptoms almost always in the beginning. So you will not even see them. You will think, oh, this is a normal age. You may not know that it's because now waste products are a lot in your body. That is why you are getting some of these things. You buy a Duema, you brush it off, you continue. Your headache is there, you buy a painkiller, you brush it off, you continue taking medications, and you are making your situation
All right,
worse.
we have a caller on the line, Lucy from Kaswa. Hello, Lucy. How are you? Good morning.
I'm fine.
What's your contribution? You have a question to ask?
Please, in the night, I urinate a lot. And I always getting sleepless nights and stuff.
Okay, so you want to know whether it's related to kidney disease. Thank you so much. Is it?
Yes and no. So this is like Googling your symptoms. I always tell people that, if you have a professional degree in Google Medical Service, that is fine, keep it.
What is Google Medical
Because, the minute you think that, your head is spinning, quickly Google headache. Okay.
And the things that can cause headache.
Look, that's so much.
Yes. So as I mentioned, yes and no. So for me, what I'll tell Lucy listening to us right now is she may not have even given us the full overview of the things that she's saying. She says she pees a lot and
at night.
And at night, yes. So it could even be pointing to diabetes because nocturnal urine, as we call it, you pee more at night, yes, and a lot of other symptoms
also be a UTI.
It could be a UTI.
Yeah.
I'm there, so I can chastise them. She coming from Kaswa.
Yeah.
UTI is very prevalent. I mean, I work there as well.
Let's just assume she's drinking too much water before going to bed. So obviously,
that's another thing.
Yes, if you drink too much before going to bed,
yes,
then intermittently you're going to wake up to use the washroom. So she should visit the healthcare facility. Absolutely, that will be her surest way.
Okay.
Yeah,
but can UTIs affect the kidney in any ways? They can.
Yes. So they can, quote unquote, travel up into the kidney. Then you get direct kidney infection. So that can be an AKI or an acute kidney infection, as I mentioned earlier.
Let's pick another caller. Hi, good morning, Gifty.
Good morning.
Please, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right, what's your question? Please go ahead.
Please. Normally in the day, I do take water, but I don't urinate much. But in the evening, I also take, at times I can take maybe 3 or 4 cups of water before going to bed. And I'll be urinating frequently.
Okay.
So I don't know. And all of a sudden, I've been feeling dizzy, seriously.
Feeling dizzy, huh? Your doctors are here to answer you.
Give me any.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for contributing to the show.
Yes. So she said she drinks a lot of water before going to bed. It could be the reason why she's feeling a lot at night. It may also
How about
not be
the dizziness?
Well, the dizziness, yes. So there are a lot of things that can cause dizziness. If you are anemic, your blood levels are low.
Yeah.
You could. In extreme cases, let me not try to scare. Even in this kidney disease, as you mentioned, because the waste products travel to the brain, right? Then you are going to have some of these symptoms. As I mentioned earlier, you could even have seizures in extreme cases.
Yeah.
So this will not be the appropriate platform to arrive at a diagnosis. Wherever we are, I believe there are primary healthcare facilities that we could visit, and if there is any issue, they will be escalated to other places. And if the civil servants are also having any of these signs and symptoms that I've mentioned, I'm sure Nana will be ready to take care of them.
All right, I have a couple of messages. Let me read them out quickly. This says, hi, my name is Abna. My dad is on dialysis. However, he uses to go for 3 days, and the doctor says per his performance, he should come for only 2 sessions a week. Does that mean anything positive? And sometimes he gets depressed and also worries us at home with his food because he can hardly eat much. Yet he requests for different food within a day. I get worried when he does that. Educate me on it. Then, let me pick a caller quickly, then we tackle this particular issue. Hi, Agatha. Good morning. How are you?
Morning.
All right. Please, what's your contribution?
Me pacho. Me hoya me basa. Me sweaty sa. Me kwa banki me sweaty sa. Me ntumi ndina no. My week. Se me bisa me bada na me betra science. Me ma me penyo.
All right. Okay. Pacho, what you hear? Is that all?
Me hoya me basa. Me ntumi mpi.
All right.
Me kwa banki se me sweaty. Fi beti me sa. Me ntumi control.
Okay.
Me hoya me basa. My week.
Okay.
Me baby aso nye me ya. Me sisi nkwa na ye me ya.
All right, Agatha, thank you so much. The doctors will answer that. What could be that?
Auntie Agatha.
Menopause.
Yes, that's one.
Menopause.
She's old. She's
Yeah.
It could be. I mean,
at menopausal age too, I mean, you are getting your weak limbs and I mean your calcium levels, D3 levels, all of these things are affected. Extremely too. Her BPs may be high because she's saying she's feeling a bit uneasy and all that, and restless and all that. So from what she has said, for me, I don't think it's much of a problem. Yes, it's not.
Thing.
It's not. Yes,
okay.
But she can still, visit a primary healthcare facility, like even a pharmacy, get some supplements just to take care of herself now.
All right, okay. So we'll tackle Abina's question on the dad. Then to continue her message, she says, "Hi, I have come again. I'm Abina from the Upper East region." The text wasn't so much clear. This is to Dr. Elaj. When you spoke about, let's pick another caller quickly. Hi, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please, what's your question?
Mekacho, you're from Amelia, Mekacho Fitakwa.
Okay.
Na me baby ono muntia na jopa obesora no muntio ana me kacha me say ono muntio bebre a obenya kidney yare me pacho o hwe mutia muntu no so ma me why.
Okay, Amelia, thank you so much. Me that's it. Please. I asked earlier whether me not drinking enough water can affect my kidney. Amelia is saying that her daughter is drinking too much water.
She should let the child be. She should let the child be. She's drinking water. Water is it? Okay. So she should drink all the water that she can. There's no limit as to what they need to drink. She hasn't been diagnosed of anything. She's drinking water. It's good. Thumbs up. She should drink.
Please translate this in chief.
Amelia. Obana maneno musio why esio ne ye maneno musio no onu musio no obejonso so ebe clear the system ne munti no bo made amaneno ha no why se hwen ya ne dia mane nguso anum ne musio no why me da say.
All right, back to Abina. Abina says to Dr. Elaj, when you spoke about people taking in detoxifiers to cleanse themselves, I have a relative who takes Nanaji. I think it's a purgative. You know about that?
Yes.
A medicine that makes you run. It's very strong though. I want to ask if taking such medications are healthy to the body.
This is a tricky one. So I believe I need to be careful with my response because, I need to weigh in on both. My profession will not allow me to say a named medication is good or not, unless it's banned by FDA. I believe Nanaji is FDA certified, so I will not be in the position to say whether it's good for the person or not.
Okay.
What, however, I will be able to advise is that generally medications, especially herbal medications, they are allowed a certain level of impurities, even if there is E. coli, what we know causes diseases like this in it, they are allowed to pass. Unlike what we pharmacists will be focusing on, the herbal medications, they will be allowed to pass. So this is just for you to have at the back of your mind that when you are taking some of these concoctions, know that there could be other impurities in which are allowed to pass. The standard is that...
When you say are allowed to pass, what do you mean?
Okay, so the standard is that if they are orthodox medication, there should be no impurities, E. coli level 0. Can't have it. If they are prepared through herbs, we know that because we are picking them from plant sources and directly doing all these macerations and then doing all these, putting all them together and all that, we could allow for some level of contamination. It's allowed. The standard says that you can
and
have
it wouldn't affect our bodies?
Yes, what is said. So that is the standard. So then you think of it that way, you know that for me, I wouldn't say you need to continuously take a purgative. If you are continuously taking a purgative, then there is something wrong with your diet. It means that you are probably not getting enough fiber. You are not probably eating slowly, or even have a GI problem that may require medication or even surgery because your what we call the gastric transit time is probably extended or too short. That's the body is not able to fully digest what you put in. So this is not to specifically talk about the named medication the person mentioned, but to put in general that medications, not only herbs, I'm specifically saying the herbs because they are allowed a level of contamination. But medications in general, you should not be taking them unless you are directed to do so. And when we direct you to do so, it's because we know what can happen and we have the solutions. Almost always, we have the solution to that.
All right. To her first question, so when the dialysis treatment is reduced in number of sessions?
It could be so many factors, but I think the key one would be the financial constraint. Absolutely. Because, I mean, you are doing 3, so much burden on him. So I must have discussed with my doctor that, I mean, things are not really okay. The doctor can suggest that because it's that 3 or 2, okay, or 1. So if you are doing 2, it's better than nothing at all. So for me, I think it's a financial constraint, but it's not as if the father is recovering. That is why they are reducing the number of sessions to 2. Okay. I mean, like he said, the father worries about home. He's depressed. Why is he depressed? Financially, the burden on him. Okay, he's looking at the family back home. Instead of he taking care of the family back home, now the money is being used to pay for dialysis. Obviously,
okay.
He's depressed.
Let's pick another caller quickly, okay? Hello, Kweku. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam. Good morning.
Good morning, Kweku. Okay. What's your question here, then?
But my question is, I did it to the Joan and my daughter every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, every 30 minutes. And the question is, you know, some problem can the minister, doctor, and with one answer. But you make my about that.
Are you clear with the question? Mpacho, can you like repeat the question?
There's no problem can the minister, doctor. So obviously I'm on
what problem is there?
But no problem can the minister, doctor.
Pacho Bisano, you have the right to do that. Please do.
But me maybe I say. But me brother me say my daughter every 30 minutes they are ready so every 30 minutes they are ready every 30 minutes they are ready so my daughter my hospital for check up now so yama me do ama man so the process don't wanna me do so my jo wan ntiase the same reason there was a year of between yama me.
All right. Yeah, that's it. Dr. Yelaj.
Hi.
Why are people urinating?
But if you drink too much water,
Yes.
Is it too much water?
there should be an underlying cause. We are not too sure. He said he's been to hospital, they've given him medicine, he's still urinating. Go back and then see your practitioner. So you see, this is the whole thing, and all this boils down to education. We need to educate our people. Okay, we need to use the opportunity. Every opportunity that you get, you meet a patient, you need to speak to the person. Okay, let the person understand their condition. Like you said, there are instances that people come and then they've diagnosed themselves. So they expect you that I want ABCD medicine, give me that and I feel better. Okay, people even come to our facility and then if you don't give them infusion, Wamba Hospital, Nyari. So once you administer infusion, then I know that I'm a medroom, you know. So education, we need to educate people that if you do A, the result is this.
Okay.
If you don't do this, the result is that. So we need to have a community-based tailored program, okay, for people that even we need to empower all the way to the primary health caregiver, okay, in our communities. That is opportunity to educate, advocacy, okay, about anything and everything. Once you're educating them about anything, everything, it gives them the knowledge that, okay, if this is happening, I need to go and see this person and speak to the person. They don't know. I don't know my signs and symptoms. I'm urinating. It could be a lot of things. UTI. It could be diabetes.
Yeah.
It could be anything. Okay, but if it's not explained well to the person does not understand what is happening to him or her. Okay, so if we can do a lot of advocacy and then patient education, not just any education. If you're asking me to go and do a patient education anywhere, language barrier, I need to speak to the people in clear and simple terms. If they speak, you don't expect me to go and stand there and be speaking English. Okay, if I really want the people to understand and then come along with me, I need to go to their level. Okay, so we need to speak in clear, simple language that the people can understand for them to be able to ask questions. If you go and speak English, blah, 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 then you are gone. Okay, you've spoken. We have heard. Nurse, doctor, what's he saying? I mean, if it happens in our clinics, okay, doctor, nurse is saying, nurse is saying, you know, but we need to explain things, okay? Take your time and explain to the patient. People have problems. Everybody has a problem, okay? So if somebody approaches you and asks you a question, we should have all the patients that we need to explain. You explain once somebody gets it. For other person, you need to explain, explain.
Let's speak another. It
Right.
looks like this topic is very interesting. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, please go ahead with your question.
Pacho,
Paucho Kasa.
Pacho,
Woden. Okay, all right. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Mami, and then the Yakuku asem na yeka. Nemum so kuku ya betufu se ubeko ayaresabia ayeben. Ye betunya run scans, ye be checke bibia na se wakuma ena bia problem aba ho a ye be hwe kama enti ayaresabia bia ben obia no udu honoma ena ya betunya hwe. And
the other caller who spoke to us.
Oh, yes. I've forgotten his name. I think he's Kwabena. I don't know if yes, from Dansuman. So Kwabena, please. I think there are quite a number of facilities around Dansuman. Dansuman Polyclinic. Mamprobi is there. Supreme Specialist is there. There are a lot of facilities at Dansuman that Kwabena can visit. And to Kwabena, Utia Pacho, Tuanamo Nabra Hospital. Any of those facilities, we should be able to attend to.
So our main topic for today actually was to discuss Mohammed's policy on the free, the trust fund,
Yes.
the dialysis kidney disease trust fund. And let me read quickly two of his manifestos on health. As part of NDC manifesto, President John Dramani Mahama promises to remove taxes on essential medical supplies for dialysis. That is one. The second one is to establish a cancer and dialysis treatment trust fund to support afflicted Ghanaians who need assistance to treat their conditions. All right. What do you say to this? Is this possible?
It is.
Do we have the money to fund this?
We do.
Okay.
Did we survive COVID?
We did.
We're paying COVID levy.
Which we still are.
Are we still paying COVID levy?
Are we still paying it?
We still are paying COVID
It's already
levy.
scrubbed.
COVID levy has been scrubbed.
We are paying.
Has it been scrubbed?
Well, the last time I checked.
Well, if it has been scrubbed and we paid COVID levy when there was COVID, can still have the fund. Why not? It's doable. Okay, because like I said initially, everything about kidney disease is the dialysis, the funding of dialysis and their medication. So if he's going to set up a fund, people will open up more to assess the funding.
Let's move ahead with the conversation after this caller is picked. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Debo.
Mpacho mi sini bisa se una BPA now uwo ekrosua obefa edronis mi bisa doctors there like obetunya obefa BPA edronis to time ubi wana beto baby a we can say BP no be ko usubanya ufa udiana.
Okay, point well noted. It's unfortunate we are not talking about BP, but let's quickly touch on her points, maybe in the local dialect.
Yes, sure. I can speak, no problem. Say bano BP na high BP, as we should rightly be saying, because we are blood pressure, but to be there high blood pressure. You can say a kwankro, and enya idea ufi upim ejai edrofa. Think of it this way: say car see beposo na esania befim. Na meet at the chalk about so, which is amlodipine 10, and now will be so pro, and now any medication or the about to. Now we not sign the show. No, you not sign the show. Don't you think, say, the do bread, car no, or the chalk no, at toa, a be wafaso. So if you're the chalk near to kakaka, or so coso, at the two or san, copim brea, mates in who from afar say, oh, people so no, or by catch yourself a beer, do no, or level ground. Until say mate now or catch yourself shall see you to chalk at the chalky or track no. If I catch you say jai so be you to chalk no, it was all coso. And they be and yet da utipa or pet and it was all for BP drew. Tianopa, oh sorry out before BP drew, said they are sure no, and I baby only or doctor now pharmacist they didn't get and we say was all fano. Coso anafa, copim brown no one can catch you say, baby a dreedy name mum for 2 timu say. Abribia for your lifetime.
Exactly the point. All right, so back to our trust fund.
Yeah, so like I was saying, it's doable. We can, right? If we're able to, find a way to implement the COVID levy, we should find the same way to implement the dialysis fund, which is doable. For every Ghanaian, even in the remotest area, to be able to access it, because it's purely out of pocket payment. Okay, so if the cost of the dialysis is the reason why people are not going to hospital, once this fund is put in place, it will ease the burden on families and then the pressure as well. Then again, we could also have the public and private partnership. Okay, the government could, form an alliance with us non-for-profit agencies, right, to be able to have a fund that people will be able to access. And then again, even the corporate entities, okay, you could have the paid leave, okay, people on dialysis. Some companies do support their employers on dialysis. They have a percentage that they give them. So if we're able to put all this in place and then probably have a research hub, okay, to see new, treatments, new interventions for dialysis, it will ease the burden. So I think the trust fund is a good idea. And if we really want to do it, it's doable and it can be achieved.
All right, well said. So what can Ghana employ to create awareness on kidney diseases since it's prevalent in the country?
Yes, there are quite a number of things that we can, do. I think Nana has touched on a lot. Community engagement.
Yeah.
Yes, first thing. Because you need people to be empowered. How do we get them empowered? By knowing. Because if you do not have the knowledge, then you would not even be able to tackle whatever it is. So when people know about it, the phone-in session has opened, for me, it has opened my eye to a lot of things that someone is thinking their child drinking so much water is so bad for their health and asking me to advise the person against drinking so much water, which means that we have a big problem. We have a big challenge. So first of all, community engagement to educate people, to empower them. Also, as Nana mentioned, if we are going to move with this trust fund, for me, I always say that policy is not about what we say, it's about what we do.
Implementation.
It's implementation.
Yeah.
My senior colleague and brother, Benson, also of Ridge Hospital, says that in Ghana, we have a diarrhea of policy and information and a constipation of its implementation.
Yeah.
So if we are to have a diarrhea of its implementation as well, we are going to move far. Yeah. The previous government something on 1st December, rolled out a free, what's it called? Dialysis, yes. And I believe it's possible in a 24-hour. I'm merging the two of them. So it is possible in a 24-hour economy for us to have this going on. And in Ghana, it is also possible for us to have people be empowered and know that, look, we will be able to solve this. Yeah. Research, as Nana has mentioned, if we are able to the best of my knowledge, all our erythropoietin is imported. because I work with quite a number of importers who bring in cancer medications and some of these things to support dialysis patients. And chief of them are all imported. I don't know anyone producing locally. So imagine we are empowering schools like KNUST, like UHAS, to go into research to bring some of these products, and then we are making them locally. The government is supporting them. We are having a diarrhea of policy implementation and not just its formulation. Yeah. I believe that we have a way to go. And you and I, we also have a role to play. I'm happy CLOSAG is offering this platform for us to educate the masses, which otherwise wouldn't have been the case. I believe that as we go out in our own small way, if you try your possible best not to get kidney disease, if I try my possible best not to get kidney disease, the burden on the system is going to be less. But if you have a lot of kidney disease patients, then it's going to be a big deal. So it also starts with us, that we also put in healthy measures so that we do not tip into CKDs. I think that is also another way we can look at it.
All right. Nana, earlier when you were speaking, you made mention of the fact that testing is expensive. Yeah. And the trust fund is just for dialysis. So what do we do?
Well, we could also have a subsidized way, okay, for people to be able to walk in and do the testing. So the tests could also be subsidized as well. Or find a way to put it on national health insurance. Okay, so if the NHIS is revamped, I mean, these days they are doing a lot of work. So if the NHIS is revamped and then you put a lot of tests on it, okay, once my card is active, anytime I go to the hospital, I'll be able to use my card to assess such tests. Okay, once these tests are done as they should be, then we can track people right from the word go, right from the primary health care, can track people and start picking them up. Okay, you pick them up from that system. But if it's not, and then it's out of pocket payment, sometimes it's a burden. Okay, people think that I can just walk to hospital and my NHI is supposed to care for everything. But unfortunately, it is not so. If you really go deeper down into what NHI is supposed to do, I don't think that is what we are getting. We are getting the reward for the things that it's supposed to do. So then it has to be revamped, more education, subsidize the testing, and then we need to find a way to inculcate chronic disease management into that. Okay, if people can just walk in and then say that I would like to do A, B, C, D. I mean, you can just walk into a facility here and then say that you want to check your BP, it's free. But if you want to check your sugar, it's not free.
It's paid.
It's paid. Okay, BP is free, but sugar is not. So these are the key drivers. So we should find a way to get people, you know, right from the bottom to be able to assess. I mean, CLOSAG can take the lead. Once you are here, you get a mobile van one day, announce to the people that I'm doing testing on this. People should come. I don't know if it's the confidence or people are just not comfortable. But we should, once the service is being offered to you, people should take advantage of it. You'll be surprised how many fishes will catch that day if you take an initiative. You should. CLOSAG should just take it upon that and then get a mobile screening or get a van and announce that you do CLOSAG week, right? Yeah. We could put it into that. It's not just about the trade fair, there's a bit of things.
So we do civil service week.
Right, right, civil service week. So we can add the health aspect and let people screen.
On right? What's in particular?
They could do the testing. Okay, they could check their sugar, they could do the BP, could do the creatinine. I mean, anything that goes into that, you can do it that day. I mean, you could partner with a clinic here and then, or other service providers, and you could have this thing done. You'll be amazed the results that will turn out.
All right. It's almost time. We just have to wrap up. Right. So, in a second, can you educate us on kidney disease? You do it in English, you do it in Twi, and advise us. Please, there's your camera.
Right. So, I would say that all of us, I mean, kidney disease can affect anybody regardless of your age, being a man, a woman, a child. It can affect anybody at all. So for me, the key thing is that we should be able to understand what goes into kidney and then the resources that are needed. So people should take the opportunity and visit their healthcare facilities, okay, to get screened for chronic disease. You don't have to wait till chronic disease catches up with you. Okay, take a bold step and then go check it out. We as Ghanaians, we don't like going to the hospital to check. We want to wait till the last minute when the situation is bad and then you expect us to do a magic. Please, the education will have to be massive. It's on all of us. Everybody, is a call on everybody to advocate and then also to learn and know that kidney disease can affect anybody. And once it affects you and then you are put on dialysis, it's a huge burden. So people should take a look at that so that we can all help prevent this disease.
All right. I've changed my mind on your question. So how can the trust fund go a long way in helping kidney disease patients?
Okay. So I think that would offer us some consistency in supporting our kidney disease patients, because the financial burden that it poses is not something people can have going on for a long time. The trust fund can focus on taking away the financial burden, even therapy when it comes to people who are depressed through treatment. The trust fund could also look at it. And I believe that once government is dedicated and dedicating funds to the trust fund, we should be able to go a long way. And the public-private partnership is something we cannot leave out, because the private sector normally has a lot of the infrastructure already. So if you are partnering with government and government is paying for it, because look, healthcare is expensive, someone has to pay for it. Yeah. So if government is paying for it, and not all of us need to go to Kolebu to have service, and we could go to satellite places which are privately owned and government is paying for it or subsidizing, I believe that the trust fund would go a long way to help.
I'd like to add on quickly that the trust fund should be transparent, it should be accessible, it should be equitable. Okay, if this is done, we shouldn't make it a bipartisan, or it's for me or it's for that person. It should be very transparent and accessible to every individual. Okay, and we need to find a way to monitor the progress of the trust fund.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you learned a lot. Today, we were talking about kidney diseases and the establishment of the Kidney Disease Trust Fund, which is a promise from the NDC manifesto. I did this with Dr. Kwesi Yelage, a dynamic pharmaceutical professional. Thank you so much. And I did this also with Nana Araba Arthur, a senior nursing officer at the Clocksack Polyclinic. Nana Araba. Thank you so much. Nana Araba.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Remember, drink plenty water, because your kidney will be affected if you don't. The parent said, please, my daughter is drinking plenty water. Please drink plenty water. Thank you so much for making time to watch us. I'm grateful.
Everybody likes Go Digest. Go Digest. Show you watch forever. But TV comes first and gives out the best. Every morning there's no other. So Go Digest. Go Digest. Everybody likes